Hi, Leslie. Does everything look good today? Can you hear me? Can you see me? I kind of positioned us a little bit. I guess maybe I can get rid of some of this dead space over here if you want. There. Then we're not looking kind of crooked like. A little higher. Okay, hold on. Okay, watch out for motion sickness. And hold on one more time. Okay, is that better? I wanted to make sure you could still see me sewing and then see whatever I do over here. Oh, I had to adjust. I did the height, but then I had to adjust how the camera is angled because otherwise you're just going to kind of be looking at the dog in my lap. This way we get the whole desk in and it's at a good angle. See if I could adjust the light a little. Miranda and I moved everything around really quick last night at like 4 o'clock. So I haven't tested any of this out yet. I am sitting on that side over there. And you guys are going to have to watch it upside down. We'll just play with it a little bit until everyone shows up. I think I'm going to need to get one of those big ring lights to help lighten everything up in here now. I need to lift a little to see the machine. Alrighty. So to see the machine here, see, that's why I had it kind of down like here. And then I can bring this up. Hi, Laura. We're just trying to find the best angle for everyone to watch before we get into this. If you want to put in an input. There's a little bit of a delay, so I'm trying not to go too far ahead and wait for you guys to give me a little bit of a feedback on what you like and don't like. To the left a little. So to the cutting mat side or the sewing machine side to see more of the sewing. Because what we're going to do is we're going to make these bags. And it's more sewing. Just my apologies if anyone gets a little seasick. I have all the fabric cut out already. Okay, I'm going to split the difference between the two of you. One wants sewing, one wants more of the mat. And then, that's good? Okay, I'm going to wait a second and see if you guys like what I've done. That's better? I can leave it just like this now? Can I get a little light in there? Okay, so I think for today that is going to be the best that we can get. If you think it's too dark, let me know and I can bring in a big tall light and see about popping it down at there, but I think you're going to be able to see pretty much what you need to, right? All right, my squeaky chair. So we're going to wait a few minutes just to see if anyone else shows up to hang out with us. So did everyone have a good weekend so far? I know some of you, you're at the end of your Sunday or getting to the evening part. Oh, the baby blocks. I haven't done too much this week. It's been another one of those weeks. I did make, you've probably seen it on Instagram, but I made another pouch. I made this cute one. I thought, you know, it's fun with the little pastellis and the hearts and stuff like that. Still a February Valentine's Day pouch. Did the quilt as you go, kind of log cabiny. Just a little bit of the blue watery wavy stuff on the inside. The exploding block. I haven't made one of those yet. Now that I have the batting in the house, I'm really all like gung-ho to start making quilts again. But first I want to at least make sure I'm working on the quilt tops that I already have going and not to get a whole bunch more whips and not finish them. Oh, Marie, you're fine. We're just getting everything all set up, trying to figure out where to put. Hi, Elizabeth. Try to put all the camera and get the lights right and get the angle good. So, Leslie and Laura are just kind of helping me get everything ready. Oh, I like forgiving blocks, especially when you don't have to line up the seams and everything just kind of is offset, so you don't have to worry about everything being perfect. Excuse me. That's why I do a lot of the, what do? I do the rail fence. I like the rail fence a lot too, because you don't have to worry about that too much. Anything with rectangles and stuff, that doesn't always have to be perfect. You can adjust. So I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes, and then we're going to figure out what's going on and start the project. You guys want to let everyone know where you're from, if you're comfortable with just, you know, a state or country. You guys probably all know I'm down here in Florida. The weather is getting all crazy again. We were, let's see, Friday the high was 64. Saturday it was 72, and now today it's going to be up to 84 in the afternoon. All right, I think we're probably going to be close to about where we had last time. I think we had like 7 or 8 people last time too. Oh, there's Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. We have not started yet, so you're still at the perfect timing. I'm just getting ready to give all the different measurements. We are going to make a bag like this. I have this clown fabric. Well, I definitely think I need to get a brighter light in here. You guys want to hold on a second while I bring in a bright light and you guys can chitter chatter away? It's like you really don't know what you need until you get going and you get started, and then you're like, huh, that doesn't look like enough. See if that looks any brighter. Thank you, Elizabeth. Some of them I find, and some of them people have sent me. I had one lady that very generously sent me a couple of large flat rate boxes just full of novelty fabric. She said she wanted to buy some more, but she couldn't until she used up what she had. Oh, that's not fun, Leslie. We had really bad wind the other day. It was like tropical storm strength wind. I was really worried about like shingles falling off and stuff, but we did okay. All right, I think that's the best I can do with lights until I get a big fancy ring light. So I thought, since I made this clown one, I made this one a while ago and I couldn't remember how I made it, and I haven't had time all week to actually sew another one. So I did whip this one up this morning about an hour ago. But I have the blue clowns with the red on the inside. So I thought we would go ahead and make an opposite one, and we'll make a red bag with the blue clowns on the inside. Oh, it's scary. I always wonder, you know, we get a lot of tornadoes here. So when the wind gets going like that, you have to worry about tornadoes. You can hear the windows rattle and stuff. That's always really scary. All right, so what I did is, just for this size bag, this bag finishes at, it's like 9.5 inches wide, probably about 7.25 tall. There's no gusset to the bottom at all. It's a very flat bag. there has not been a way for me to figure out how to make the gusset without putting it, having raw edges on the inside. So that's going to be, thanks Cheryl, yes, everyone stay safe where you're at. Don't go out driving, don't do crazy stuff. We have people that are outside here, they'll get up on ladders and try to trim trees and stuff like that while the storm is going on. But yeah, so this is going to be a flat bag for now. I do want to try out the different, there's a lot of different vinyl bags, different styles that you can make. And I thought I'd try out some of the different ones like the cross stitchers are making. And then just kind of incorporate everything together and make one bag that I like to do. So for this bag, we're going to have the outside with the vinyl window. And then we have the inside piece you see there. Now you can have this all one fabric if you want, if you don't have anything that matches. You're going to put a project in here and you're going to see the project and not the lining fabric anyways. So sometimes I just go ahead and use like all the blue clown all the way through. I have a lot of novelty fabric, but I don't have a lot of semi-solids or anything, so I tend to be limited on what I can choose. Let me turn this inside out so you guys can see the inside. I did not use batting or interfacing or anything like that. With the vinyl, I figure it just stays a little bit of a floppy bag. But the inside is really identical to the outside. So if you want to, you can just cut doubles of everything of your lining fabric, your outside fabric, or have an alternating lining fabric. Makes sense? And then I added the little snaps on top just because I haven't figured out how to put a zipper in yet, and the snaps work really good too. A lot of times you're just using it as a notions or a project bag. You're going to keep them somewhere at home or in another bag, so you don't always have to worry about things falling out. So I have all of my stuff already cut for you guys. I think the hardest part is cutting the actual vinyl. I don't know what millimeter width or whatever they call these for vinyl. I bought a giant roll of it off of probably somewhere online or Amazon, maybe 6-7 years ago. Someone who was making those, this is another thing I want to make too, those like potato chip snack bags, or you take the M&M candy wrapper, you put the iron-on vinyl on it, and you turn it into a zipper bag. I did not have the iron-on vinyl. She said that she does it with just this vinyl and it works fine, but I had a hard time with all the thickness and everything. I should probably try it again now that I'm better at making bags. But cutting the vinyl, so this is just off a giant roll. You can use the vinyl off of maybe, see that's Maria, I'm going to tell you right now, is a little trick about this stuff. If you can't go to Joann's or wherever you have locally and just buy vinyl, if you happen to have, like when you buy a new set of sheets or comforter, it comes in a vinyl bag. So you can use that vinyl also. All right, Leslie. So the problem I had with cutting the vinyl is that I couldn't see it. So when you put it on the cutting mat, and then you put your ruler on top, it's hard to see where it is. But if you have it angled just right, you can see it with the light. A trick I also saw online a while back is that if you put a piece of tissue paper down, put your vinyl on top of it, and then it makes it easier to see it, to cut it. I just kind of went, my vinyl is cut at, and my little notes, my vinyl's cut at 4 by 6 inches. So it's 4 inches this way and 6 inches long. So 4 inches tall and 6 inches long. I did try a paper template, Elizabeth, and I still struggled with it. I had a hard time getting everything to line up, but I found that if I cut it just about 1/8 or 1/4 inch larger all the way around, that once I made these two cuts to even it up, then it was easy enough for me to flip it around. So try a couple different things. Try any type of a white paper, colored paper, try tissue paper. Maybe if you have to, we're going to sew this into, where's my bag? We're going to sew this into our fabric here. So if you take a really thin pen or pencil or marker or something, you might be able to put a line on it and then just trim it down inside the line. So take a ruler or a template and draw around it on your vinyl, and then you just trim on the inside so that those markings don't show. Is that what you meant, Elizabeth, by a paper template? To put the template down and then draw around it? Because I was thinking about putting it just down on the tissue paper, but the paper template is a really good idea. I think that would help out a lot to either cut around it or draw around it. I don't have a 4x6 ruler, but I guess you could just come up with something. Play around with it a little bit. See what works for you. So I have my window. Now, what you're going to have to decide is I'm going to give you the measurements to make this pouch exactly. All right, yeah. Sometimes, it just takes a little bit while I'm thinking of what I'm talking about to figure out where you guys are going. But yeah, the paper template makes perfect sense to go ahead and draw around it or cut around it. It's like when you're doing felt and you can't really draw with a Sharpie on felt because you can always see it. But if you make it just a little bit larger and then trim on the inside, it'll work out. You don't have to be exact with your measurements. So if you did them at 4 1/8 by 6 1/8 and then trim on the inside, it'll still work out for you. Now these two pieces, I chose these at, what did I make these? I made these at 2.5 inches wide, and then I made them as tall as my vinyl, so I made them 4 inches. And just to stick with that 2.5 jelly roll type size, I also made these at 2.5 inches wide, tall, but then I went for 10 inches long. So you're going to take your 6 here and add into these two pieces, and it'll take off your seam allowance and whatnot like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Leslie, that does make sense. Sorry, I got a squeaky chair today. Well, every day. So if you want to make a different size, you just want to play with the measurements, you could always make it. I thought this was kind of a good size window. If I were making this again, I might want to make my top and bottom just a little bit wider. But since I already had the first sample made like this, I just went off of those basic measurements. So afterwards, I'm going to come back onto Patreon and I will type in all these measurements into the description box, so you guys will have it right there and you won't have to worry about going back through the video and writing everything down. So that made that. So then I also decided, since this was 10 inches, that I made my backing fabric 10 by 8. So I cut that out of my outside fabric, and I cut the same thing out of my lining fabric. So I have 2 of everything that I'm going to cut. So I have 2 at 10 by 8. I have my 2 sides of my outside fabric and my lining, and the top and bottom outside fabric and lining. And then of course my vinyl. And remember, vinyl melts, so even if you don't get your iron on it, you don't want to get hot steam on it either. I really didn't do very much pressing with this one. You can do a lot of finger pressing and it works out pretty good. Now, to warn you guys ahead of time, when I was making this morning, as I said, I couldn't remember how I did the top. So I went through and I did it wrong the first time. So you're not making this along with me right now, right? You're just kind of doing your thing and chatting with us and watching. Because I might have to backtrack. When I get to this point, I'll have to see exactly when I need to do the one step. And if I go past it, I'm going to have to backtrack. So don't sew along with me yet. So I said we're going to make the red the outside and the blue the inside. So I have my vinyl piece. If you have directional fabric, you want to kind of pay attention to which one's going to be the top and bottom and how it's going to be for you. Like this one right here. This has a open tonight and maybe a little welcome. So I'm going to put it this way. And this is where I had to stop and take a little bit of a think and make sure that I'm doing it right. I want these 2 pieces to be on the outside. These are the 2.5 by 4 inch pieces. So I lined them up with my vinyl, and then I took it and I folded it in. I am using little clippies, of course, because you're not supposed to pin on your vinyl. And I want to go ahead and take this one step at a time and one fabric at a time. I found it easier to line them all up because not only is it hard to cut, it's also hard to see when you're lining up your fabric. So I'm going to put that there and line that up. Let me go ahead and do this one too, just because we have it here. If you made anything wrong, you can always trim it up after we sew this step. For some reason, I decided to cut mine on my first bag at 4.5 inches instead of 4. I don't know. I guess I was on a 1/2 inch kick. So this is going to be my, let me see which way you guys looking at it. This is the top, yes. So then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to go ahead and look at my next pieces, my lining, and just to keep myself under control so I don't put them on wrong. Because what we're going to do is we're going to sandwich the vinyl in between the two pieces of fabric, so between the outer piece and the lining. So I just line it up and see which one I want where. You don't really see this unless you look inside the bag. So I have the right sides together with the red fabric to the vinyl, and then I have the right sides together from the blue fabric to the vinyl, which makes the vinyl sandwiched in between my lining and my outer fabric. I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. When I first started making these bags, I did not change the stitch length on my machine. I just went with my normal, my 1/4 inch is set at a 2.0 stitch length on this machine because it's a quilting machine. I do bump it up to about a 2.5 or 3 just because we're going through vinyl and I don't want to worry about it perforating the vinyl at all or anything tearing. So I do a little bit of a longer stitch, but I think 3.0 is still about an average size, so it's not an issue. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn on my probably loud sounding machine, and I'm going to stitch a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch seam here. And then we're just going to finger press our fabric away from the vinyl. As where I said, I didn't really see that it had to be specifically put an iron to this because you would have to put something down, I guess, to protect the vinyl anyways. Just finger pressing did good. When we're all done, we're going to go ahead and run top stitching around it anyway, so that's going to hold everything in place. Red is our outside. It's going to be right sides up like this. You have those, they have those little wooden pressing tools you can run on here too if you want. So again, this is the top of my bag, so I am going to, if any part of it, my fabric isn't directional, but it does have certain parts as I cut it that will make it look directional. So I have this tent up here, so I'm going to put that way. And the same thing with the tent down there. Once again, I'm going to put these right sides together. I'm going to line it up with the edges and the vinyl at the top. Put a little clippy in. Just trim it up. And I'll bring this one up. Line it up again. If you hear any strange gurgling sounds, the dog is laying down at the floor right down here at my feet, and apparently she didn't eat breakfast this morning, so her belly's gurgling like she's hungry, but she won't eat. We'll flip it back over, and we're going to do the same thing with the blues again. So I have my blue there, my blue there. Fold it over. Still lining everything up. Is everyone following? Are we good so far? Holler if you have a question. I don't mind. I'll stop. You know me, I'll answer anything. Make sure I have all three of them clipped together. Once again, the vinyl is sandwiched in between. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do my 1/4 inch stitch down both sides. Thank you. Oh, my cats snore, Laura. This dog, she just turned 13 last month. And I don't know. We used to think she had an upset stomach, but no, it's just that she didn't bother eating because she was too worried about snack time this morning to worry about eating her breakfast. You can add extra clips if you want. If you don't have clips, some people will put tape on it. I don't know if I've already mentioned that. You can also use those hair clips, either the ones that you use with like curlers that have that long prong here and the clippy part up here that open it up like an alligator mouth. I'm going to go up to the beauty supply store and pick up some of those because I've seen a few people use those when they're sewing, and they're really quick, easy to clip on. Plus, instead of just this little bit, it's really long. It comes out like this far, so it's going to really hold it in well. So you have all that extra clamping power. So you could use those. You can use those girls' barrettes that kind of, you know, when you snap them, they pop back into place like this. Yeah, I think for me, Leslie, I tried pins once before, but I never really quite got them. I always worried that they didn't stay within the seam allowance because you guys have seen my stuff. Sometimes I go too fast and don't think ahead and I'm really not good at pinning anyways. They're like you have to have them at a certain angle and you go this way or that way or this way, and so you don't have to pull them out when you're actually stitching. I did learn something. I received these yellow clips with the package that I received last month with the different bags that the lady made for me. And I've been saying all along that, geez, my clips, they don't clip very well. They don't seem as strong as pins, right? I bought mine off of, they're from China. They're not the actual name brand ones. So when I got these and I started using these yellow ones, these are, I'm guessing they're the official ones because the jaw power on these are so much stronger than on this one. Because I can easily do this. This one, I really have to force it to open. So I think there's a really big difference between buying the generic ones and buying these. Though for the most part, these work perfectly fine. But when I'm doing the zipper and stuff, I find that these work much better. Just a little tip for you. They can be quite expensive, but that's why I picked mine up, the China ones. All right, bye, Elizabeth. You have a great evening, and we'll see you guys next time. Yeah, all of mine are flat on one side so that I can run through the machine. But I really want to try those alligator type clips with the long snout on them because I think those are going to be really good for doing stuff like this. Cheryl, do you notice a difference between your real and not real versions? Or do they all seem to be the same for you? Maybe I just got one that's stronger. Yeah, I think it depends on what you're doing. I only seem to have a problem with the zipper because that's when it slips the most. Just holding little bits of fabric together and stuff doesn't seem to matter. I really kind of freaked out for a second. I thought this was all one piece of fabric. But we're just going to finger press over. You can have like that Hera marker that's supposed to be able to press on this too. Just be careful around the vinyl so that you don't cause any issues. You don't want to like pull it and tear any holes or where the stitching is. I don't know what you could possibly happen. Yeah. Hit and miss. Yeah, you never really know nowadays what you're going to get, do you? So I find if I'm going to have any problem, it's going to be right here to make sure that this part is pushed over. I noticed as I was showing you guys this bag that right here, just a very, very slight amount that it's not, like when you go to press your seams when you're quilting and you have that little bit of a fold there, it's not opened up completely. It is not a problem whatsoever. I wouldn't even point this out. I wouldn't make it, I wouldn't discount it in the shop or anything like that. It's a fine seam, it's pressed. There's no problem to it at all. But if you're going to have, while you're doing it, just make sure that this part is folded over nicely. Especially on your outside piece, which this one is the inside. And then we're going to top stitch around. Yeah, see, that's probably why I had that one spot up here that was a little bit angled off. So now I'm going to top stitch. I'm going to try to stay like about 1/8 of an inch. You can go to a quarter, maybe I'll do a 1/4 of an inch. It would be perfectly fine. You can do a decorative stitch around here if you want. I would make sure whatever you do stays off the vinyl. You know, Leslie, I would not be surprised at all. Oh yeah, yeah. See the Marie, you make the candy bags too. Yeah, I want to go ahead and make those again. I made a couple several years ago, but I had a hard time turning them out and figuring out how it all worked. But that's when I very first started making zipper bags, and that probably shouldn't have been like my early projects that I tried. So we're going to do the top stitch. As I said, you can do a decorative stitch. You can just go ahead and do a regular stitch. I guess if you want to, you could skip it. I think, I mean, I don't know. If you use matching thread, I use white thread. It's no big deal to have it on here, but I wanted you guys to see it. But I think if you're going to put a decorative stitch, it would be nice to have it a little bit in a contrast. I just think it would be a good idea. Yeah, I love making bags. I use them all around the house all the time too. I'm like, oops, I made a mistake. Okay, this bag's mine. But I think it's a good idea to keep this held in place. So if you did want a sturdier bag, you could go ahead and add your interfacing to all the pieces. I'm not sure how much of a bulk you would have here if you were to do batting and how thick it is. I guess it all depends. You can quilt the back of it, but I mean, I love to do quilt as you go and to quilt everything up like crazy, but I think this works out fine without having anything. So you could add a little bit of interface. I guess you could just interface even just the back of it since it's such a large piece to give it that extra stability. Rise, it's USA label but made in China on the back. Yeah, you never really know, because there's this thing, if it's the product is made in the USA but it's assembled in the it's made in China but assembled in the USA, that they get to do the made in the USA thing. Like if they had 1,000 bags, 1,000 pieces of these clips, but they went ahead and bagged them in 100 clip packaging, now it's considered made in the USA, which I think is very misleading if you're trying to be very particular about where you buy your stuff and where it's been manufactured. So that makes it a little crazy. Now I know Joann's has vinyl. Yeah, I'm getting more requests to actually put more of my rejects into the shop at a discount, and I don't mind doing that. It all depends on why it's rejected. Like if this pouch ended up being, you know, like crooked like this, I mean, okay, that could be a design element, but if it's something that's really not good, or it's really, the seam is really crooked at the top. I mean, I have put patches on things if I've had holes in it, but I don't want to put I don't want to put my name on something that is a really bad reject. I'd rather, like you said, give it to your mom, give it to a friend, keep it around the house for myself. Marie, I think the Walmart does has vinyl. I am a little bit spoiled other than the driving. I don't 100% know. I have one like quilt shop where they have quilt quality fabric and stuff, but they don't have a lot of other things. They just have some patterns and some rulers. I have a Michael's not too far, a Joann's. So Michael's is maybe, it's less than a 10-minute drive to Michael's and just a couple more minutes to Joann's. There's a Hobby Lobby, which is less than 10 miles away, but it takes 30 or 40 minutes to get there because of all of our crazy traffic and stuff. I used to buy from eBay all the time. I've kind of gotten onto the Amazon kick, but it all depends on what I'm buying. I love buying packages of scrap yarn and scrap fabric from eBay. So if you watch, it's a really good deal. I can't remember the last time I bought anything from eBay though. Probably should look there for a dining room table. Justin and I on Friday, we went to one thrift store and I couldn't find a dining room table. Miranda and I went to 4 on Saturday, and they had the beautiful dining room tables for $300, $500. I just want an old wooden, solid wood, none of that veneer stuff on top. I want something that's maybe caught on fire when the kids were playing with matches. Maybe they put hot glue on it and the paint and the Play-Doh stuck to it, because something I'm going to destroy anyways. Yeah, the highway is crazy here too. I don't go on the highway. I don't go out very much. I actually drove yesterday. I got to drive around town a lot, and I just don't get out too much. My son Justin, he's my oldest. He's 32 this year, I think. And he's like, Mom, why don't you get out? I said, well, because I really don't need anything. There aren't crafting clubs around here. There aren't people to go hang out with. There's no knit nights, and there's no sewing. The quilt shop does have some things, but a lot of times you have to pay $15 or $20 just to sit there and knit with other people. And while it's kind of nice, but I really can't afford, and I don't want to spend $20 a week to go sit down and knit with someone, because for $80 a month, I could buy a lot of fabric. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch this. I'm going to do the 1/4 inch away. I will go ahead and put my stitch length up to a 3.0. And then I have to stop and think and where I'm going to go. Let's start it this way. I'm starting with going this way so that my presser foot is going to be on the inside on the vinyl. So it kind of feels backwards to me, but it works. And since there is, now I have the vinyl, and at first it sticks like right here onto my machine, but I have no problem. I don't have to use a special foot or anything, because at no time am I ever actually sewing with my presser foot on the vinyl. So I think that works out really good. Exactly, Cheryl. There are so many places that do like knit nights. What do they the knitting people call it something. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Maybe it's just knit night, or they sit down and they just knit live and chat with people. I don't mind doing that either. I wouldn't mind at all. Crafting is not, you can see somewhere like, we're in, it's kind of a retired community almost, so we do have a lot of older people here. Exactly. You do it in your PJs, and you don't have to drive home afterwards. So if you want to maybe sit down and have a glass of wine with it, or, you know, like I said, in your PJs with your big fluffy slippers, I just take it slow. And when I get to the intersection and I'm getting ready to turn to go around the corner, I just do that little thing where I keep lifting the foot up and turning it to see if I'm getting even. This one I got just a little bit off here, so I kind of went this way, and for some reason I veered off a little bit. So if you do matching thread, it won't be noticed. So that's always a good thought for matching thread. But I know here is where my seam is, so I just take one stitch, see if my presser foot will line back up with this, and it doesn't, so I need one more stitch. Trim my threads. Since we rearranged my room last night, I thought nothing's within hand's reach anymore. I have to keep fighting for everything. Yes. As we get going and things start to settle more and I can figure out all the different lighting and get my room all set up somehow or another, I think we should do more of those things like that so we can just sit and chat. It would probably end up being a little bit more YouTube sometimes. I mean, it's not bad. How many people we have today? We have 7 people. And that's pretty good. And we can carry on a great conversation with 7 people. But it is nice to have a few extras sometime. So I just, nice and slow. There is no rush here. Although I do love to sew fast. And this machine likes to sew fast too, which is nice. Oh, I hit 9? Oh, yes, because a couple people left. Yeah, oh, we're really up there now. I think we only have... Someone ended up leaving Patreon, and that's okay. You guys can come and go and change your tiers all you want. We did lose one more person this month, so I think we're down to 28 members, which is fine. It gives us a nice little community. But as we start doing more live streams, I think we might start having more people coming over from YouTube. And if not, we'll just have this nice little personal, quiet little group for us, and that is fine. I don't think I'm going to do a live stream every month on YouTube. I mean, I say that now, but who knows what I might decide. I don't want to show YouTube all of my secrets either, though. Like this bag, I won't put this project onto YouTube because I have to put things in my shop too. And if I show everyone how to make it, then, you know, they won't need to purchase anything from me unless they happen to see it. Yep, see, that's what I was just saying, Leslie. I'm just saying it now. I'm a little bit ahead of you guys. This one will stay private. You'll only be able to see it over here on Patreon. I have it set right now for anyone who makes a supportive donation. So I have this one as $2 and up because this was going to be my birthday one. Yep, see, I'm ahead of you. I was doing this as my birthday one, and I didn't want to limit who can come over and hang out with us. But in the future, I have it set that the live streams are for the 9 patch and above. So that's anyone that's paying $15 a month and above is going to get the live stream. And then if you choose to be a wonky star at the $45 above and level, I'm not saying anyone needs to, that this is just how I have it set up as, that if you're at the $45 and up, I will do a live stream only with those members. So with the wonky stars, they will have their own live stream, and they will also get to choose 100% what I decide to make. Now, I let you guys choose here. I believe, Leslie, you're the one that chose to do this vinyl pouch. I mean, if I couldn't have figured it out, I would have said, sorry guys, we're going to do that again later. But I've decided that the majority of the videos are going to stay here on Patreon and for patrons only. If something happens, you know, knock on wood, I'm sick, I'm out of town, for whatever reason I can't get a video up on YouTube on Friday, I might go back and steal one of the other videos. One of the simpler ones where we maybe just chatted or did a quick little, like when I did the tissue holders, I made how to make a tissue holder with YouTube. And for you guys, I showed you how to box the corners. So I might take something like that. I thought about that, Marie, and I've had a couple of people say it, but I mean, you can do the $10 tier, but I don't know what I would do as a reward for that tier. I'm still going to keep the live streams at $15. I can put a $10 tier in if everyone would like to do that. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think the only thing that would change is possibly the type of reward you get, you know, when I send out physical rewards to people in the mail. But the live streams, I think it's going to stay at 15. I think that's a pretty good one there. I can go ahead and put a $10 tier in, and I could put a $20 tier in if anyone wants to. Yeah, exactly, Cheryl. And that's only going to be like in an emergency situation. And I'm always going to try to go back. I would never, like this one is only going to stay here. if I needed to put up some type of an emergency one because I got behind and like I said, whatever happened, I would take some of the older ones from the first year that really, they're okay, but it's not nothing fancy. It's stuff we've already talked about on YouTube. But yeah, I can go ahead and add those tiers in. I don't think, as I said, I don't think I'm going to change the reward part of it. But I don't even see where my thread is. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I think this is the part where I have to stop and do the special stuff. If your pieces got really crazy and your edges are, I have a little bit extra that's sticking off here. Every time I make one of these, for some reason, like this side is fine, and then this side is just extended just slightly. I take my huge ruler. No, that's fine. I don't mind if we get off topic at all. Yeah, I'm trying to do that, Leslie. I'm trying to work on series again. I've been doing pretty good about staying ahead. You know, everything coming off of last year was just hard. But I'm trying to do some, like with all these baby quilts coming up, I'm going to try to record some of me quilting them and the different styles of quilting and how to pin them and stuff, and then save those for emergency ones, because those aren't like a Valentine's one that's time sensitive or something like that, which even though, let's face it, if we make Christmas things year round, why can't we make for other holidays too, right? So I have this little bit. I mean, we can, I'm pretty flexible. We can do a vote. We can decide, I mean, do you think $10 level is good? I don't want to take away from the people who are already at the $15 level. I guess we can do, I mean, I don't want to overbook myself. Halloween all year round. Exactly, I love that. I don't want to make sure that I don't overbook myself, because that's what I did last year and I couldn't keep up. But we can do the $10. I'm going to put up the $10 and the $20 tier. And I'm just going to leave them as, you know, for the extra tier that people, if they want to have a different dollar level, they can. And then I'll sit on it and think a little bit and decide what I can do to make sure that everyone stays balanced out, because I want the $15 tier to stay for the live stream. But maybe I can also do one occasionally, something a little different for the $10 tier. Where, how about this? What if we do projects at the $15 tier, but at the $10 tier we do live streams where we only chat? That way we can do like Cheryl likes. We can sit and talk, and you guys can knit. I can work on 9 patches, and because I want to have one where, I've always wanted to have one where we just chit chat. Yeah, I think I'm just going to put the $10 and the $20 up, Leslie, without anything. But then allow the $10 one to occasionally, when I have a free moment that we just want to sit and chat and cut scraps together and do nothing, like no projects, then we can do that. But it would have to be like a shorter timed one, like we only do that for half an hour, because now we're already coming up to an hour and we've chatted a lot and haven't finished our project. All right, let me think for a second here. I need to have the, oh, before we get any farther, Robin, you need to do your pressing. Let me take this out. Miranda and I did put my long table that I normally record on over on this wall. And I have my pressing station in between. So what we need to do is, I have this fancy Dritz Easy Hem. It's metal. I did try to, it was underneath a stack of fabric and I tried to cut it with a rotary cutter at one point. That's why it's got a ding. Yeah, something like a Whip It Wednesday where we're not going to do too much. Yeah, I like I said, I did have a couple people early on ask for something in between. I didn't think there was that much between 5 and 15, but I do understand where it does make sense where you want to do a little but not too much. I do support, I support 2 other patrons, one at $5 and one at $10. I support Kate at the last Homely House East of the Sea, at the $10 level. And I thought $10 was pretty good, but I could see where 15 might change my mind. So yeah, so let's do that. Hold on, let me write this down because, yeah. All right, we're gonna, whoop, let's get something that writes. So we want to add a $10 and $20 tier. I'll have to figure out what I want to do for the 20s, but for now we'll just leave them there. No one's asked to be a $20 tier, so I'll just ignore it for now. With no big extra bonus stuff, just a different way to support it. And then at the $10, we'll do live streams, half hour or so, because we know Robin can't stop talking. And we'll make those chatty, no project. Okay. After I do all my stuff today, I have a list of things, so I've added it to my list. All right, so back to this. Oh, I love Kate's, and it's like, I love her vlog style and all the little things she does and stuff like that. And I'm that type of person that I'm like, ooh, I want to do just like Kate does, and I want to do just like Leslie does, and I want to be just like Cheryl. But I have to remember, I have to be Robin. She's about a 2-3 hour drive away from me. You guys can do a meetup. I'm sure she possibly drives by you when she's either going to see her son or, you know, her father or something. Okay, let's figure out, okay, we need to figure out the top. Here's the top of it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to separate the front from the back. And I want to go ahead and I want to press this under. I'm going to use this so that I can press it under a 1/4 inch. You can do about a 1/2 inch too. This one just drives me crazy because as a quilter, it has a 1/4 inch and it's just this little part here. And of course it's where I dung it up and it's got a lifted up piece of metal. Ooh. And then the 1/2 inch is here because as a seamstress you use the 1/2 inch more. So I think I'm just going to go ahead for ease, do this one as a 1/2 inch. You can use any measurement you want as long as all the pieces are even. So with this, you can hit it with some starch or hit it with some water to make it stay. I'm just going to, yeah, right? I'm so happy that she's figuring out live streams on Patreon. She says she's probably going to do more on there than YouTube because it's less intimidating. Because I started watching her she probably only had 4 months in. And she just all of a sudden, you know, last year, her channel, everyone started finding her through recommendations from other people, like when I recommend her. And they're all just flocking over. And now I think she's over 15,000 subscribers. She was like, in the beginning, she's like, if I ever hit 500, I'm going to be so excited. And my iron's not that hot. Okay, Leslie, if you have to leave and come back, like I said, it'll be up there. You'll be able to click through Patreon again and either watch it there or come back through YouTube. I noticed the last time it saved it really nicely. So I have that. I chose the 1/2 inch this time. Ooh, hot. Don't put it on the vinyl. And then I'm going to do a 1/2 inch on this one also. Am I far away from you guys? Here we go. Is that better? Now I have to do the weird arm thing. Okay. I can say we're going to do a 1/2 hour live streams and an hour live streams, but by now we all know that that's not going to happen. So these are going to nicely up at the top. And then we need to do the same thing . Yeah, I love listening to Kate. She just rambles on and she's like, I don't know why anyone listens to me. I don't have anything to say. And more people listen to her. She's the one, she also has, like my crumb curtains, she has the postage stamp ones. She has a shop where she has lovely things, and she has a cat. Was it Norma that always hangs out with her? Every time when she says, hello, YouTube friends, Norma comes running. Gets right up in her face and right into everything. So before I sew anything together, I think this is the step that I need to do it at. Because last time I did it afterwards and I had to rip everything apart. Okay. This is the part that I couldn't find anywhere online on how to do this. I just had to sit down and play with them and make them over and over one day. It may be online somewhere, but I have no idea. I couldn't find it. It's just one of those things you got to do that. She's on Patreon and she's also on YouTube. So you can watch her for free on YouTube. She's there. I think she just changed up her scheduling days. She was like Thursdays and Sundays, whether one was Patreon and one was YouTube. So I'm going to put, this is my outside fabric. We're making a red one, correct? Correct. So I'm going to put it right sides down. This is the part that we see through the window. Where did my thing go? So now we see the red through the window here. We're going to see the blue through the window. So I'm going to line up my folds on the top. Okay. And then it's a red one, so I want to make sure the blue lining ones are together, right? Okay, now that's where I have to stop and think for a second. So to stitch everything together, I need to make sure all of my outside fabrics are touching and all of my inside fabrics are touching. Does that look about right to everyone? At least with a live stream here, you guys can yell at me now, where on YouTube you have to yell at me later. So this is what I figured out. This is my lining. So I have my lining right side up, and I make sure that the lining from the vinyl part is touching the blue there. So those are right sides together. This is the top matching with the top. So I have all my folds sitting together up here. And then it looks like this. So this is my outside piece with the vinyl still. So I want to make sure that I have red right sides together so that everything matches. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and back tack here, and we're going to stitch all the way around. So we're kind of doing it like you do with a tote bag and everything, and we're going to flip it inside out. We're going to leave the top edge open, and then we have to just be careful when we flip it out. Now, fingers crossed I got it right this time. Thank you, Marie. But if you watch back some of my old YouTube videos, when I do something wrong, there's comments down below where they're like, Robin, we were yelling at you. You had it in the wrong way than you said. And I'm like, yeah, but then I catch up and I figure it out, and then I talk about it afterwards. It's kind of funny. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. My ironing board is one of those wooden TV trays without the legs on it that I just put fabric and batting and stuff on. So I'm going to take all of these folds up here, and I'm going to do my best to get them all lined up. This is going to be your most important part. So you want to make sure that you have everything here lined up, because anything else outside the seam can be trimmed and turned square and make it all nice. So you're going to have 4 pieces. I don't worry about too much there. You see how it's not quite, I can fidget it around a little, and maybe it's just not sitting right. Lay it around there. Okay, you can add some pins through here if you want. We'll just add these little clippies. I have 4 pulled out, so there we go. Yep, Marie, a lot of us we go to the same haunts. We all go from like channel to channel. We watch, I see the same names at certain live streams, and I see the same names from my videos and comments in other videos. So we all just kind of like bump, we all just go bump back and forth from channel to channel. Now I'm going to do a 3/8 inch seam here. And I like to do my bags at a 2.0 stitch length. I'm going to start back here past the folds, and then when I back tack, I'm going to back tack that way, because sometimes trying to get your presser foot and your needle to go through all of these folds, it doesn't always behave, and you don't want to get tangled up on anything. If your machine doesn't like too many layers, I mean, it's only 4, so that's not too bad, I don't think. Just go slow. Is that sewing machine super loud? Large project bags for myself with zips along the top, 3 sides sewn together but used a plastic foot. Yeah, it's something I picked up a while back, Marie. It just seems to work better for me. And I also like to go ahead and sew off the edge and then spin my bag and then start the next one instead of trying to pivot at the corner. Both of my sewing machines have had a plastic foot. I have never used them. Leslie's the craft queen now. She makes all kinds of good stuff. Okay. Now, like any bag we do, no zips today because I don't know how to get the zip in easily without cutting it exactly the size you need and having the little zipper tabs and all that. Today I am just going with the snap top. It gives everyone a good variety of bags to play with. Go ahead and trim my corners for bulk. You could trim off some if you have, like I had a little shifting down here, so you can trim off that extra if you like. These bags aren't too bad. I don't have too much of a trouble with them, like turning them and stuff like that, because you don't have any of the bulk of having a stabilizer or anything in it. Bye, Laura. We'll see you again. Thanks for hanging out with us. Oh yeah, I don't use the plastic foot for this. I struggle with the zipper. I haven't figured out how to zipper. Okay, so we are making a red bag. So the blue is our lining. Let me turn this in it before, let me double check to make sure. I'm going to say that I'm going to put my hand into the part that's the outside. Flip it. Sometimes I have to redo it. Okay, so I have my bag, right? Everything looks good there. I've got my vinyl. I do have this space here, but I have everything together like this. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some clips all the way around here. We're going to top stitch all the way around here. So make sure that you have, see, like right here, they say you can put a zipper in between here and stitch the zipper in this area. Ripped one right the heck out the other day because everything was going wrong, but mostly I do all right. At the same time, Cheryl, I can make 12 bags in one day, and I can make 11 of them are perfect, and somewhere in the middle, the 12th one goes crazy. Yes, so you're supposed to be able to put, you put the one part of this, let me get a zipper. Hold on. Obviously, this one is way too big. This is for one of my pouches. But you're supposed to be able to put the zipper cut to the exact size. You're supposed to be able to put it in here between the main fabric, your outer fabric, and the lining. And you would stitch one side, right? Then you would unzip it and flip it over and put your zipper tape in here. And go ahead and do that. So you would have to put... They didn't have the tabs on the end of them, but I would think it might work. I figure Leslie's going to go ahead and test this out. I have to figure out exactly whether I want to put the fabric, the little piece of fabric on the end, and then put it in, or, I mean, this side is not a problem because you would just have it, you'd have it sitting in like this, right? So then when you zip it, I think it'd be good to have the fabric stoppers on each end just to make that a little bit easier and to make it look neater. But that's where you're supposed to put the zipper. You still have to do all this folding and pressing. And then you put the zipper in between those two parts. And I was thinking that for these flat ones, I'm going to keep the flat ones with the snaps. And when I do the ones with the gussets, then I'm going to go ahead It was relatively easy to do it. Where's my baggies? Are you talking about like putting on one of these curves, Leslie? This one, while it took me a second to figure out what they were talking about, it wasn't actually that difficult to put it in. Because when they have you sewing it, they have you holding over this binding, right? And just holding it in your hand. And then you, as you could see, it's basically the raw edge of the zipper. So then you would just hold the zipper there, and as you're stitching it, you fold over the binding and fold under the zipper, and you do it all at once. But Leslie showed me a good video where it shows that you fold the binding down and you stitch the binding down. So the binding's in, and you don't have to worry about it. So that way when you come back and put the zipper in, that you only have to adjust the zipper and move that. You don't have to try to hold the binding at the same time. So that looks like it's pretty doable. I will be trying that this week. I do have those bags that are still cut out. I haven't made any yet. Test those out. Okay, back to where we were. Dropping clips on the floor. Oh my goodness. So professional today. So I'm going to hold that, see if you guys can see right here at all. You have to be careful because you have raw edges right here. You can trim these up a little, or when you stitch around, just make sure you tuck those down so that they're out of the way. And that's just from your seam allowance, because you have what, 2, 4, 6, 8 pieces of fabric where you folded it all over. So that's going to be a little bit of a bulky spot. But just line up your red and blue. Make sure everything stays nice and lined up. You can use your walking foot for this part if you prefer. I just kind of wing it. The walking foot, you have to actually take out the little screwdriver and unscrew things to put the walking foot in. All the other feet just snap on and off. That's okay, Leslie. It'll be there for you. I think that's why I like chatting on live streams versus making too many projects. But it's also fun to just chat now and go back and watch it again later. So you can take... You can take your sewing machine off and you can stitch it around this way if you want. Or you can leave it on and just put it underneath your needle like this. I usually have my big extension table on, so I don't always take it off. I tend to just go ahead and stitch around like this. I am going to stick with my 3.0 is perfectly fine. I'm going to top stitch, so I want it to be about... We folded it over a 1/2 inch, so we can easily top stitch at a 1/4 inch if we want, or at 1/8 of an inch. So whichever one works for you guys, you can go ahead and do it. This is just going to hold the folded tops together. Just make sure when you first start that nothing got folded underneath your presser foot and everything's all lined up neatly. Okay, I'm going to lean towards more of a fat 1/8 just because that's what you usually do when you top stitch on a bag. Thank you, Cheryl. Uh-oh. I am working off of Verizon, so I don't have much control over it. At least we're not working off my home internet. And I don't know anything about anything when it comes to that stuff. I mean, you guys see me struggling just trying to get everything set up today. Just keep on working. Trim off any weird threads that you may see as you go, of course. Sometimes you have to move your fold around a little. Make sure everything stays even. Once again, with no interfacing or quilting or anything, it's pretty simple to stitch around. Just those two side seams are the only part that can be any issue. Bye, Marie. Oh, thank goodness, Cheryl. I don't see anything here, so maybe you guys are having a windstorm. Or it just didn't happen when I was looking. And that's it. Now you can pop. I should have popped my corners down. I was too excited about doing the top stitching. So you want to push out your corners, of course, before. Oh, I got a message on Instagram. I want to tell you guys something. I showed you. Oh, wait, this is the wrong company. I showed you this tool. This tool for doing the pins when we, and how you can use this tool to make it easier so you don't have a trouble with your fingers and your pinning. The Quick Clip, they're going out of business after 28 years. So if you're interested in purchasing one of these, you'll probably be able to find them on Amazon later. But if you do want to purchase it from their shop or something, I don't know if they're having a sale, but they are going out of business and they're no longer going to be selling these. And I don't know if anyone, I've never seen another one, so I don't know if anyone else has a patent on it. But if you want one, you have to grab them soon. Oh yeah, when it gets windy here, we have issues. Hello, Jenny. How are you? Thank you for letting your mama hang out with us. Yeah, I got a message because I posted it on Instagram and they said that after 28 years they were going out of business. Marie, I did a video here on Patreon about it. Hi, Jenny. So yeah, so remember to pull out your corners, and if you forget, I have that other tool, the Soft Touch Thread Picker, that really dangerously pointy crochet hook that allows you to go in. I'm not going to do it now because I'm afraid I'll pull threads, but it allows you to go into the seam and pull it out. So it's not, all's not lost. So now the only thing left to do is to fix my corners, of course, but then to put the snap in. Do you guys want to see the snap, or are you done for today? I've done a snap video a time or two before. So you let me know, should we put the snaps in, or should we just say goodbye and talk again another day? Leslie knows how to do the snaps. Maria, I have a video for it, but I don't mind showing you again. And Leslie, if you need to leave, you can go ahead anytime. We're just going to ramble on about that. I'm going to put the snaps in. I'll show Maria how to put the snaps in. Thank you. And I am using the, what am I using? You know, I went through all these words before I started. Cam Snaps, K-A-M. I bought them on Amazon, of course, because I bought them on 2-day delivery, and now you get 1-day delivery. Amazing. It comes with a tool like this. I make a little template. Oh no, I'm not doing anything right now anyways. So I made a little template. When I do the one bag, I put the holes here. And I made a template for this to just put 2. So I cut a piece of file folder to the width of the bags I usually make. This one fits the bags that look like this. The ones where I have the different color on the bottom and the color on the top, and then I add the snaps. I put 3 of them. There's some of those in the shop, of course. Right? And they're so fun. Yes, this is because if you have just the metal ones like you buy at Joann's and Walmart, they do the metal snaps. I brought out the tool, but not the snaps. Hold on. What do you guys think? White snaps for this one or black? I think white. And they come with these little plastic snaps. They also come in all different colors and different shapes. Oh, good. White it is. So I made a template. So if I make more of these bags, I don't have to constantly measure a 1/4 inch down and make sure it's even and stuff like that. I just put the template on. I take whatever marking utensil I want because I'm going to put a hole right wherever I mark this. And then that way, the pen's going to go away. I'm just thinking I need to put this underneath it. This desk is not important to me, but I really don't want to put a bunch of holes in it anyway. So I take my template and I mark it. I even cheat and I only mark on one side. You can mark on both sides and it's probably better to do it, but I don't. See, that's it, Marie. I am just so full of, my family might not say tips, but I'm always full of little tips because I'm always trying to find a shortcut for myself or something to make them all look the same so I don't have to constantly take that time to measure. So I've put my 2 little marks right there. And I take the pointy tool that comes with it, the really sharp awl, and I just go ahead, since I'm going through, this one I think I'm going through more layers because I did that 1/2 inch hem on it. Just kind of give it a little twist. I pull through one layer. I pick up where that hole was again, and I pull through the last. And I just do the same thing over here. I think it's great when we share tips with each other. You may not want to share all of your super secret sauce, but it's good to share tips with others in our community. Especially if you have someone that's new to the craft or new to making bags. You know, why not give them a little bit of help? I don't believe in the thing where, like, I struggled and had to figure out this bag myself. And like I said, I wasn't going to put it on YouTube, but since one of you guys asked, I don't mind sharing it here. These are my outside pieces that look pretty. I only have black and white right now. I figure those are the basic colors. So I'm going to need 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 on the other side. And then like most anything else, there's a male and a female. So I think it's good to share little tips and tricks with everyone. I mean, why sit there and look at someone and let them suffer? So these are the ones where the snap goes in. So these are the females. And these have a little bit of a prong sticking out. So these are the male. So I need, for each hole, I need an outside and an inside, an outside and an inside. Yeah, we all figure out different things and we do stuff that works for us. I have a hard time figuring out a lot of stuff, and I need things to either help me remember or shortcuts. And I just come up with these little tips from in the past. Okay, I put it through with the prong. I'm going to take whichever one. I like to put so that if these are the ones with the point that sticks out to snap, you like to put them on the both side. I was thinking about it earlier today, but technically it doesn't really matter. No one's going to see them that much as long as they snap. Who cares, right? So I put my outside piece, and then I make sure that this is the flat part on the back. So I make sure that the snap itself is going to go on the inside of the bag so that I can connect to the next one. These aren't as easy to get out as the metal ones, so I try to be kind of careful of what I'm doing. The device has that little bowl in there and then a rubber stopper thing. So the round part from the outside sits in the bowl. Sits in the bowl. And then you just squeeze them down. So I squeeze it tight, I turn it, and I give it another squeeze. Now I've had 3 surgeries on this shoulder. I have a very weak shoulder. I don't have much hand grip, and it's to like cut vegetables and stuff. If I'm having a bad day, it's very painful for me to do it. But I'm able to do these no problem. I bought a whole bunch of those too, and all the different colors, and I had them separated into like the embroidery floss box, and I had all those fun colors, and then I used them all because I make so much. They use these, from what I understand, they started out as cloth diapers. That the cloth diaper people were using these because they don't rust, so they can go through the washer and stuff like that. And then when I bought them, I bought another, I don't know, like 100 pack or whatever, or enough to make 100 sets and of white and black, and I've just been going through them. I would like to get some of the fun ones with color, and we're still just going to rinse and repeat on the other side. Make sure that we have the concave side, because you go into a cave, versus converse, which is the top of the dome. So we make sure the concave is out so that our snap will snap together. Baby bibs, yes. I started out making baby bibs with Velcro. Oh my goodness, was that a mistake. First, Velcro's not fun to sew. And second, the poor mamas, when you walk, all the motorcycles are going by. It's bike weekend here. So when the mama put them in through the washer and dryer, all that Velcro would stick to everything. A bag to put the snaps in. Velcro is not fun. Then I snap it a couple times just to make sure. And if I feel like it feels a little wimpy or it's not doing anything nice, and even if I don't, Paranoid Robin goes back through and I go ahead and I clamp it at a different angle one more time. The first time I clamp to the left in the center. Second time through, or the third time, I go ahead and clamp it to the right. There we go. One snap top vinyl windowed bag. Really, once again, more talking, less sewing, and it doesn't take that long to actually make them. Undecided on some simple bags to make in bulk for craft fair. The ones where you make just like that chain, you take a rectangle, you make the change pouch, and you fold that top over, and it snaps. I'm trying to think if I have anything really close by that's like that. I showed a video on how to make those little coin pouches that you just slide it over. You could put business cards in it, you could put coins in it, something for the little kids to put Matchbox cars in it. You're welcome. Yeah, you have to crunch them just right to make them close. I haven't, knock on wood, so far I haven't had any that don't stay closed, that rip out or something. But if when you close it, it just doesn't sound or feel right, and it doesn't make that clickety sound, go ahead and clamp them again. Never hurts. Yeah, any type of pouch, I would think either just like this way or anything with a fold over top would be good. The ones where you can put a couple diapers and the thin packages of wipes in it, and that folds over and snaps, those are nice too. I did craft fairs once. Leslie, do you do craft fairs, right? Yeah, I guess I figure you gotta like what squish them with pliers and break them to get them to pop out. All right, ladies, we are at an hour and a half or so, hour and 25 minutes. I think we are done for the day. Does anyone have any questions on this bag before I run off and take care of my animals? I make stuff, never sell it. There's a web form that moved. Oh. I've only tried to like, it's hard to sell things like an Etsy in your own shop. You really have to drive people there yourself. I hear there's a lot of, I've got a birthday story if you want to hear it. I hear there's a lot of like places that have consignment shops. People do really well. You're welcome, Marie. I'm glad we can help you out. So on my birthday, I had my 10:30 doctor's appointment. I thought, okay, I'm going to probably be there for a while because he's double booked because he had that family emergency and they had to reschedule everyone. When you go to pain management and you get a prescription, you can only fill your prescription every 28 days. So when they give you a prescription, you have to fit in. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those, especially a lot of the paper crafters. They have a lot of great ideas for craft fairs. So they had to squeeze everyone in to fit within the prescription timelines and stuff like that. So I knew I was going to have to wait. It drove me crazy though because last year they sent me home with a big packet of paperwork to say fill out all the paperwork for the new year. I go into there on Friday and they give me another stack of paperwork and they're like, here, you need to fill out this paperwork too. I'm like, why couldn't you just give it to me all in the same day? Then there's a thrift store right next door. So after the doctor's appointment, I went to the thrift store, kind of wandered around. I didn't buy anything there. Maybe I bought one thing. I don't remember. I don't think I got anything though. So then I thought, well, let me go to the other, this is a Kiwanis store. So let me go to the other Kiwanis at the other side of town because they sell more furniture there, the lady said. So I decided I'm going to stop at the post office first. Leslie, I got your stuff. I'm getting ready to send you messages this afternoon. Everything came in. Thank you so much. We'll chat later. And so I go to the post office and I get out and I sit in my car and I'm like, there's something weird. I went to put my foot on the brake because I have the automatic keyless starter. Put my foot on the brake didn't go down. There was no lights on. The car wouldn't start whatsoever, completely dead, right? I'm like, crazy. It felt like it was like a low jack was set off, like I stole a car and they turned everything off so it wouldn't start at all. My kids live just a mile and a half away from the post office, so Justin brought a portable battery jumper charger thing. He was able to charge the battery up enough to get the car to start. We went to a discount AutoZone place and they had a hard time checking to see if the battery was good or bad. We figured the battery was purchased with the car in April of last year. They put a brand new battery in when I bought it. Oh yeah, everyone check out Leslie's Pinterest board. Leslie, are you Leslie Gilbert on Pinterest? Because you have all kinds of good stuff over there. So they finally, after about 10 minutes, said, okay, you have a bad battery cell. The battery's fully charged, but it's not working. And it's very difficult. It's called a hidden battery. So you have to like turn your tire of your car a certain way, and you have to go up underneath the bumper to change out the battery. Plus, it's a $140 battery. So my son, of course, being smarter than me at the time, said, let's go back to the dealership, which is just up the road, and tell them to put a new battery in because it's under warranty. So we get up there and they're like, okay, it's car's under warranty. It's probably going to take an hour and a half, 2 hours because it takes at least 60 minutes to replace this battery because that's how far under and around everything is. So we go out and we went to the other Kiwanis and we went to Target and we went to a couple other places. Just had a good talk and a nice birthday. Enjoyed myself tremendously. I get back to the dealership and they call me up and they're like, your battery's perfectly fine, but when I had another place do the analog brake system and they replaced all that stuff, there was a light on still on my dashboard, my anti-traction one, and they said to reprogram it would be $1,100, but just to make the light go away. They're like, do you want us to do it? I'm like, not for $1,100. just go ahead and leave it. I'll just drive it as it is. No big deal. If it bothers me, I'll put a smiley sticker on. Well, apparently the dealership said that it needed to be reprogrammed. And if I didn't have it reprogrammed, I would never be able to drive my car. It would constantly shut off and die like that. But since they thought it was the battery also, they couldn't charge me the $1,100 to have it reprogrammed. So they had to do it for free. So while I had an issue with dealing with this all during the day, it actually turned out great. So I didn't have to pay $1,100. Knock on wood, my car is good to go again, and hopefully everything will be fine. Yeah, check Leslie. Yeah, she's got all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, I just didn't see the point in the whole programming of the cars and getting those little lights to turn on and off. It's just crazy. So Patreon or YouTube thought that Marie putting on Pinterest on Marie Fagioli, is that what your last name is pronounced? That they didn't like that. They didn't like, they're trying to mislead, it's all sketchy. I had to actually approve that. I thought that's wow. Yeah, the car right now, we drove all around yesterday. Mandy and I were out for probably about 4 hours. We drove around in circles all across town, so everything looks okay. Yeah, I'm so glad my son was close because in my first thought, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like locked out of everything. The car won't start. There's no lights. Your brake always goes down no matter what, but it was in the locked position. I thought it was crazy. We couldn't even open up the hatchback in the back because I drive a Dodge Journey. It's not a SUV and it's not a minivan, so it's like some type of a crossover between the two of them. So it does have a hatch in the back like a minivan. I thought, oh my goodness. I'm like, do I want to just trade this car in and try something different? Or do I want to hope that the more I fix on it, eventually everything will be fixed and I won't have to worry about it? Yeah, I think I wanted to get one of those battery charger packs that he has too, just to keep in the car to help not just myself, but to help other people out too. So if anyone else has a problem, that I can be of help to them. I always carry jumper cables and stuff like that because even though I don't know how to use them, I figure someone else could, or we can look them up on YouTube and they can help it out. So this pouch looks really good for all of this. So you guys all set? Has everyone found everyone over on Pinterest? It's like a Where's Waldo. Everyone's doing a search. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close this down. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I don't have a date set up for next month. I'm going to go through and work on those tiers later today. Now that the dog is starting to go pacing. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to stand up and wheel around and get to this phone and turn it off. And I will post on Patreon whenever I figure out our next day for a live stream is. And then I'll post it over on Patreon. Okay, so now I just got to figure out how to turn this off. Yep, everyone have a great day or an evening wherever you're left. Not there. Oh, here we go. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.